Toto Wolff has again sought to shut down rumours he's heading to Aston Martin next year, with the Austrian stating his best intention is to remain with F1 benchmark Mercedes. Wolff purchased a less than 1% stake in the Valkyrie hypercar manufacturer last month, a decision he said was a financial investment. But while he's yet to sign an extension with Mercedes, the Austrian said he still had a lot to contribute at Brackley.
I'm at Mercedes, I'm the team principal and I'm a shareholder, and it's clear that when there is no other headlines out there that the Aston Martin thing caused some waves, but I'm planning with Mercedes. I have the best intention to stay here, and that is unchanged.
Wolff is expected to stay at Mercedes beyond 2020 and re-sign six-time world champion Lewis Hamilton. But the Austrian won't rule out signing free agent Sebastian Vettel for the second seat, instead of Valtteri Bottas or protege George Russell at embattled squad Williams, despite the move being seen as a mark of respect to Vettel.
For us, we want to take our time. Our priority lies on the Mercedes drivers, Valtteri and Lewis, and then obviously George and the Williams situation we're looking at with interest. And beyond that, you need to just not discount any driver. And this is why I said I don't want to discount Sebastian as a four-time world champion, because who knows what happens in the next months.
Azerbaijan was in focus last week, with F1 2020 developers Codemasters releasing a sneak peek of the Baku city circuit, the hot lap on board with Alfa Romeo's Antonio Giovinazzi. But in the virtual Grand Prix there on Sunday, Williams' George Russell took his third straight win of the series, ahead of Red Bull Racing's Alex Albon, with Mercedes' Esteban Gutierrez in third. Azerbaijan's 2020 event was initially postponed on March 23, but its place on F1's shortened calendar is yet to be confirmed. The Baku race will be part of F1 until at least 2023, with the sport's latest race deal extension in Hungary for an extra year until the end of 2027. Lando Norris, normally found in the McLaren F1 garage, blew off his race rustiness last week in a special Formula 3 test with his former team Carlin at Silverstone. Norris has won 2 titles with Carlin, including MSA Formula in 2015 and 2017 European F3, in which he lifted the crown with 9 wins, 53 points ahead of second-placed Joel Eriksson. The Brit was even able to practice passing, with the team releasing this maneuver on Twitter, all of it important in getting him back up to speed. It's just getting the body back into that physical feeling of the G-force and everything like that to get that muscle memory back and working as it should do, he said. Staying at Silverstone, where the Silver Arrows will be back on track this week with a 2-day test to practice protocols ahead of next month's Austrian season opener run under strict guidelines. The Silver Arrows have already fired up 2018's championship-winning W09, for which F1's testing restrictions don't apply, with Valtteri Bottas strapping in first on Tuesday, before Lewis Hamilton takes over on Wednesday in the car that he took to his 5th of 6 world championships. When he matched the maestro, the late great Juan Manuel Fangio, who lifted the crown for 4 different marques, including Mercedes. Ferrari is also set to do its own private test in the coming weeks at Fiorano, the track on the doorstep of its Italian Maranello headquarters. Red Bull Racing's Milton Keynes factory returned its focus to F1 last week, signaling the end of the extended shutdown, as the sport prepares for its return in a post-COVID-19 peak Europe. But the team's base has been a hive of activity over the past few months, with the squad one of 7 British-based outfits involved in F1's Project Pit Lane that has manufactured breathing aids and ventilators for hospitals in the United Kingdom. One project, though, that hasn't yet been commissioned, but showcased the rapid pace at which F1 develops new tech, was the Blue Sky Ventilator, a simple positive pressure unit for short-term emergency use. The Blue Sky Ventilator is the brainchild of Dr. Alastair Darwood, a member of the NHS England Clinical Entrepreneur Programme and junior doctor who was astonished by F1's capabilities.
What better industry to have to bring a concept, a prototype and an invention to turn that into a functional prototype at breakneck speed. And I've certainly seen that firsthand.
Unfortunately, the brakes were put on the project just before it was to be signed off by the UK's Healthcare Product Regulatory Agency, the MHRA. But the design still has potential for other emergency care settings. Reserve drivers are preparing for the coming season with renewed focus, with F1's chairman and CEO Chase Carey stating that the teams need to be ready for all potential scenarios. If a driver had an infection, reserve drivers are available, he said, just as if a driver has food poisoning or something that was unexpected. For race 1, reserves would likely have to be in the Austrian F1 paddock, given strict travel restrictions and need for a negative COVID-19 test. But beyond that, teams may have more flexibility. Looking at options, Mercedes has Stoffel van Dorn, while over at Ferrari, Alfa Romeo's Antonio Giovinazzi would step in. Red Bull has Sergio Seche Camara, but Alpha Tauri would likely provide one of its drivers. Antonio Giovinazzi has shrugged off suggestions he was underrated in his first full F1 season at Alfa Romeo, despite going 10-11 to world champion teammate Kimi Raikkonen in qualifying and matching his points haul from Belgium onwards. The Italian, speaking exclusively with the inside line, is only too aware of how a driver's reputation can change from week to week, given his two-race debut for Sauber in 2017, when he impressed with 12th in Australia before crashing twice at the next race in China.
Formula One is like that. You can be a hero one week and not a hero on the second week. So it's Formula One. I don't, to be honest, I don't see too much what the people say about me. For me, the important thing is that the team that I drive, in this case Alfa Romeo Racing, they were happy with my performance.
Pirelli could spice up the coming Austrian and British doubleheaders with a different set of tyre compounds for each race weekend, likely seen as a more equitable way to mix up the order. TV broadcasters are keen for different results from the second race on a doubleheader, but F1's most recent idea, a reverse grid qualifying race, was shot down by Mercedes, with unanimous support needed for approval, ensuring an uphill battle for any changes to the format. "We're kicking it around at the moment," said F1's Ross Brawn. "It's possible there will be nothing, but if we can do something just to liven up that second race, it will be a good thing." F1 will run on 2019 spec tyres this season and next, an unprecedented move that Pirelli's Mario Isola is confident can be done without problems. Over to Paris, where F1's governing body, the FIA, has closed down more engine loopholes to stamp out unfair advantages. It's understood that the new rules have come as a result of the FIA's fresh collaboration with Ferrari, following its secret agreement with the Scuderia this year related to an investigation of its 2019 power unit. On oil consumption, it's said that the FIA can now introduce strict controls on measurement, with the system sealed before running, while the leading cars will be fitted with an updated ERS sensor to be able to monitor electrical power distribution of energy recovered by the car's ERS, ensuring limits can't be sidestepped. Mercedes has revealed that the FIA initially didn't think that it could make its DAS system legal, given the complexity of the engineering challenge. The Silver Arrows originally wanted DAS to be on its 2019 car, the W10. But while the FIA rejected its then execution via a lever, their suggestion, designed to squash the idea, led to a legal solution.
So they said, no, you're going to have to move the whole wheel in and out. And I think when they said that, they were hoping that that would be too difficult and that we would go away and cause them no more problems. But we have a very inventive chief designer.
DAS was one of the surprises of pre-season testing, after vision emerged of the Silver Arrows drivers pushing and pulling the steering wheel on the straights at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. The system, which has since been banned from 2021, allows a driver to control the car's toe, or tracking, as it's known in road cars, for optimal rotation of the front tyres around the vertical axis.
Our chief designer, John Owen, took one look at that challenge, and he's got a really, really good gut feel for whether something is doable or not. And that's a really helpful characteristic.
Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.